So we're here today to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Woman Warrior, which was published in 1976, which I'll admit was a year after I was born. But Woman Warrior remains just as vital, just as exciting, and just as compelling as when it first appeared. If only I could say the same for myself. Like many of you here, I was drawn in by the book's urgent lyrical prose, by the family secrets exposed, by the mythology that Maxine retold and remade. She received a National Medal of Arts because of how her work has shaped our national conversation about culture, gender, and race. At the White House ceremony, no less than President Obama said, when I was writing my first book and trying to teach myself how to write, Woman Warrior was one of the books that I read.
Yeah, it's just like my own birthdays, you know. I'm 76, and it feels like a blink, and it also feels like a long time. I also feel like I'm participating in a eternal stream of events and people and time, and my writing is also part of a whole stream of words and culture, and it's all connected. My work, each of my books is connected to the previous one. It's like, oh, I didn't say it all. I made mistakes. Okay, I'll write the next one and correct it. And I'll write the next one and correct it. And so it's like one long book, and it's connected to everybody else's books too. It's sort of like the Hawaiian language, in which when they started to record it, they didn't make word breaks. All the words were connected, like one long word. It's one word. And I sort of feel like that.
Even when the barbarians missed, they terrified their enemies by filling the air with death sounds, which Sayen had thought was their only music, until one night she heard music tremble and rise like desert wind. She walked out of her tent and saw hundreds of the barbarians sitting upon the sand gold under the moon. Their elbows were raised and they were blowing on flutes. They reached again and again for a high note, yearning toward a high note which they found at last and held, an icicle in the desert. The music disturbed Sayen. Its sharpness and its cold made her ache. It disturbed her so that she could not concentrate on her own thoughts. Night after night, the songs filled the desert, no matter how many dunes away she walked. She hid in her tent, but could not sleep through the sound. Then, out of Sayen's tent, which was apart from the others, the barbarians heard a woman's voice singing, as if to her babies, a song so high and clear it matched the flutes. Sayen sang about China and her family there. Her words seemed to be Chinese, but the barbarians understood their sadness and anger. Sometimes they thought they could catch barbarian phrases about forever wandering. Her children did not laugh, but eventually sang along when she left her tent to sit by the winter campfires ringed by barbarians. I also pictured, I have the pictures, the way that I picture the words as well as the way an artist sees pictures. And so that way the metaphors come very easily. And then there's, I see, I think that I have lots of linguistic adventures.
And to this day, when we couldn't travel to China, everybody was thinking, oh, what are those communists like? You know, Red China. And so everybody had their stories in their minds. And I thought, well, let me write that. I'll write that visionary China. and I don't have to be there. I'll get that. And then listening to my parents. And also I had, my grandparents were in China, and they sent letters, and then I would imagine what it was like in that place, and I would give it like substance, imagining what the houses were like, and what things smelled like, and what a rice paddy looked like, and what it must have been to hide from the bandits up in the loft, and so I just pushed my imagination into those places as far as I could, and then when I went to China and I saw that what I imagined really was there, and it was just the way I imagined it. And I thought, wow, it means that the strong imagination can arrive at the truth. When I published The Woman Warrior, the first assault of reviews were that you have no right to tell that story. And those critics were Chinese American men, and they were representing themselves as
The authority.
Yes, and also that you misrepresent, China is not a sexist country, and you're saying it is, and also you got the myths wrong, and that you are not a real Chinese, you are not a real Chinese American, and you have no right to represent all of us. Maybe the nicest thing they said, oh, this is your personal story. This is her personal story. It has nothing to do with anything else. And my students, there was an actual fight in one of my classes. There was let me see, a Jewish man and a black woman. And one of them was writing about the other one's culture. And it was that, you have no right, you're a white person, you can't write about a black person. And all I did was, I just told them, yes, you have a right.